This video demonstration will show you how to replace the fan motor on an Excalibur dehydrator. This was the 5-tray model. First, unplug your machine and remove the door and trays. Turn the machine upside down so its opening is down on the table and the back plate faces the ceiling. Remove the temperature knob. Use your pliers to loosen the nuts that hold the fan motor in place. Only loosen them a little bit though. Then unscrew the 6 screws that hold the plate in place. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver for this. Slide the plate back to the side furthest from the temperature knob to dislodge it from the frame. Then carefully slide it out and up so that the motor is exposed, but do not pull hard or remove it from the case entirely because it's grounded to the cage. Rest the back plate with the fan and motor on the internal cage and you can work on it there. First, you're going to disconnect the electrical wires. The first wire is O-shaped and it connects to the heating coil assemblage. It's held in place with a nut. First, remove the nut, then slide the wire connector off the screw. You may have to remove another wire connector which leads to the control dial first. If so, put it back again afterwards and put the nut back on to hold everything in place until later. The second wire is connected to the thermostat with a U-shaped connector. That U-shaped connector links both to the thermostat and to another wire that leads to a fuse. This connector can be difficult to remove from the housing, so be prepared to do some tugging and levering. First, remove the whole U-shaped assemblage. You may have to pry it up a little bit. Once it's free, then you can disconnect the jump wire that leads to the fuse from this U-shaped connector. To do so, you may have to open up the cylindrical attachments. They're tubes, and you might have to put a fine awl or a fine screwdriver down into those cylinders and wiggle it a little bit to loosen up the cylinders and so that you can remove this jump wire. Once both the fan motor wires are free, draw them through the access hole to where the fan motor is. Now you can remove the nuts that hold the fan motor to the back plate and remove the motor from the plate. To pry off the fan blade from the metal shaft, you will need to remove the spring clip first. Use pliers or a screwdriver or whatever you have to hand to lever that clip off. Once the clip is off, you'll have to wiggle the fan blade backwards and forwards and apply a fair amount of pressure to get it off the shaft. Place the fan blade on the new motor and secure it with that same spring clip. Once that's done, put the new motor onto the back plate in the same orientation as the old one and secure it well with the nuts. Tighten the nuts. Now you can thread both wires through the access hole. Attach the wire that has the O-shaped connector to the heating coil assembly in the same order as before and replace the nut and tighten it. Slide the U-shaped connector onto the thermostat contact until securely lodged. Reattach the jump wire of the fuse to the U-shaped connector and squeeze the cylinders with fine pliers so that they hold nice and secure. When both wires are firmly reconnected, you can carefully lift the back plate and slide it back into position. Reattach with the 6 screws. Now, reapply the temperature dial. Place your dehydrator back on its feet on the counter and plug it into a wall socket. Then turn the dial to see if the fan and the heater are both working. If so, congratulations.